You've been playing Dark and Darker for the past couple streaming days since it came out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Did you hear any gigantic news about Dark and Darker?
Oh, you mean like the hundreds of people that popped into the channel all at once? Oh my God, Markstrom, did you hear? Wild.
Is
It's
that
like it comes in a gigantic wave and it lasts like 2 hours long. It's like, yeah, man, I heard from the last 200 people that came in here, brother.
what's the news?
The news is good. The news is warranted for them to have that kind of response. So the United States, apparently, the lawsuit is dropped from Nexon against Ironmace. However, it's more so dropped out of deference to the Korea case that is ongoing. They basically said they don't need to have this happening in both countries at once. We will see what happens with the Korea case. So for the time being, there is no ongoing suit in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of a win, but also it doesn't really matter all that much.
So
It's a step in the right direction.
is it
We'll
the
call it
same
that.
lawsuit? Same ground?
Essentially,
same...
yeah, it's just it was filed in both places because they wanted to put pressure on Steam to take it down,
Okay.
essentially. Right.
So
So
in both countries, it's Nexon suing Ironmace. It's the same exact lawsuit, just in different
yeah,
jurisdiction.
there's also another suit that was specifically against like certain individuals, Nexon versus, like Terry, who's the CEO over at Ironmace.
Oh, are
Or
those
like
ongoing?
criminal charges against him rather than charges against uh the actual company of Ironmace.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And again, I'd like to remind the listeners that Nexon is well familiar with the inner machinations of a case like this because the current CEO of Nexon went to prison for this exact same thing. So he's just passing the buck right now, and he knows what makes a case, what doesn't, and the reason he went to jail for a couple years. So pretty interesting stuff.
So he was in the shoes of Ironmace. Was
Yeah.
wow.
Or similar type thing. I forget the game that this occurred on, but
And they have a
interesting.
lawsuit against the CEO or one of the main guys or a few of the main guys of Ironmace.
I think it's two
as
employees
individuals.
specific. Yeah. Like criminal proceedings in Korea. It's not like even Nexon. It's like, the state of whatever. Obviously in the States, that's how it works. But however it
Wow.
works in Korea. Yeah.
All right. Well, so you think them dropping the suit in United States is just BS? It's just
Yeah, I think it's less exciting than people make it out to be personally. It's also interesting because this case is going to go on forever because everything has to be translated like one page at a time, dude.
oh my
And have it
gosh.
confirmed that it's translated the correct way. And
True.
yeah, it's wild because it all matters, right?
Yeah, and the wheels of justice are very slow turning.
Yes, yes, they are.
Ay, ay, ay. All right. Well,
So,
we'll keep checking in on that suit.
yeah.
Um,
That being said, um, game is not only out, it's been great. The reception is phenomenal. Since they've launched, they've put out 6 hot fixes in like the last 2 weeks of balancing patches, making sure that the way that the armor scaling works is appropriate. They have made sure all the classes are somewhat balanced or more balanced than they have been, making sure people have good experiences in game, a lot of bug fixing. They've put out massive updates to their anti-cheat that they're working on. And they've really cracked down on what started out to be kind of a ramping cheating problem, but instantly squashed for the most part from what I've seen.
how are people cheating,
Um,
and what types of cheating?
like ESP, your typical
Really?
ESP, invincibility,
Oh my gosh.
walling, etc. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I think I've maybe experienced it one time.
Oh, that's
So out
all
of all
right.
my raids, I'm going to call them raids for eternity because Tarkov has absolutely decimated me, my vocabulary, my integrity as a broadcaster, my
Dude, I think you owe Tarkov a lot, bro.
Do you? They made me. You right. You right. Tarkov made me. Not
We'll hit up.
not but also, when you think about it, yo, Markstrom, PUBG made you, bro. You won the first ever international tournament game of all time, dude.
That
You
was
crushed out
fire.
all the best.
That was fire.
But then there's the people, Markstrom, man, Daisy, it made you, bro. That's what you got partnered on, man. Yeah,
I
it really just
would
depends on what timeline you came in on.
I think
And
it was Jump
I'd get
King.
behind the DayZ timeline.
Abe came in on Jump King. So Jump King made you, Mark. Yeah, it's interesting. Throw Scum in there, throw the cycle in there, and it's definitely interesting. It's impressive when the people come in and ask me about Scum because that lasted about 2 weeks. So,
Oh god,
man, they really hit the timing on the head.
Jeez.
But
Wasn't
yeah,
that the
then
one
they
where you had
tune
to
in and
actually
they
use
ask
the
about
bathroom?
that game forever. Every single time they come in, whatever the game is that they found me on. Hey, when was the last time you played this? Bro,
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either.
It's their flavor.
And I respect it. But, you know, maybe they could tune into all the other great content.
You tuning
know
in?
what I mean? Every day?
Every
No
day?
chance. No, because then they would know I'm not playing their dog shit game, dude, that they're asking about. They would know I'm not playing it.
Oh man,
No, I'm not playing
I
it.
think I have a forever soft spot for DayZ, dude.
I mean, listen,
just
there's
is what
something
it is.
beautiful about combat and unique player interaction. And really, that's the crux of all the games that I play, right? It's having that VoIP. It's having random people to holler at, befriend, betray. It's magical. And it's an ever source of content. And then that's the reason these games build careers on Twitch, because it's the perfect balance of competitive FPS prowess and social manipulation. And it's nonstop daily juice.
It's the best
And
part.
I love it, man. I
It's the
really
best
do.
part.
Like, I love a lot of different games, but like that combination is special. And like I said, I mean, you know, all the big boys from back in the day, from Justin and early Twitch, like DayZ was it, man.
DayZ was
That
it.
and War Z, and that genre is crazy and hasn't evolved a bit in the last however many years. Though it's taken on different iterations in other genres, like the BR fad and now the instance-based survival shooter. All a very natural progression, but it's cool, man. Like I am happy to be a part of it, and it always feels like I have a natural progression for main game when the time comes. You know, it's like, oh, well, this is the next thing in my sphere of influence. You know,
Yeah, are
So-
they actually called? So this is the different style. This is like the Tarkov style. I always gave you props. I don't know if if this is real, but did you coin the name instance-based survival shooter?
yeah, it's funny because I think I was one of the first people to say survival shooter in general, and just coin that. I'm sure I'm not the only one who said it. But I did definitely perpetuate it to the point where I ran the community on Twitch. I don't know if people remember communities on Twitch, but it was a different way to categorize content, which I really liked. And it would basically, you could go to a specific category that was community made. And so as a partner, I could create a category. So I created survival shooter instantly because like that's the bread and butter.
Oh,
And so I
snap.
ran that for like years. And people would, you know, like whenever someone got the best part of it, I'll tell you the best part of it was anytime someone had the tag survival shooter and they got reported by someone, I would also see the report. And the things that people report broadcasters for was some of the best. I wish I did a whole series on the reports and just kept it anonymous because they were hilarious, man. Back then, I'm not as good of a content creator, and like I don't think of that idea. Today, it's the first thought in my head is like, that's a great series. These are the reports, like anonymous reports of the survival shooter community.
Can you
They're so good.
can you use the internet time machine and find them?
I have emails.
Well, then we
They
gotta look
all
at them
get
one day.
emailed to me.
Yeah, we got.
We gotta look at them.
We
This
do.
is unbanned requests on steroids.
Yeah, no, it's literally like just like unbanned requests. It's so fun
Oh my
because
God.
like what all I learned is that viewers are super ignorant to the way the platform works and like what they actually care about, right? There's not one reportable piece of like content where like it's like, oh yeah, this guy would get punished by Twitch. They'd receive it. Not one, dude. It was like, I did this. It's not specifically against the rules in their rule panel down below the stream. Therefore,
I'm salty.
I should not be banned.
Therefore, I'm salty.
I was so salty. It's like as if you don't deserve to sit in the chat if the broadcaster doesn't want you in the chat. You are owed literally nothing for free content.
I don't know, dude. What if someone gets framed?
What do you mean framed?
I've been
What
framed
do
a
you mean
couple
by that?
times, dude.
Care to elaborate?
Dude, I was in a guy's channel and
Yeah. Your little brother types something and bada bing, bada boom, you're
What is
banned,
that?
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
well, not even. I don't have a little brother,
I
but
stayed logged in at the library and
Something like
I forgot
that.
to log out, and someone typed
yeah.
something.
Or
and-
also someone typed something in chat, and then they're like, "Who said that?" And they go, "It was Slumdog." Like, it wasn't me. You can scroll up, and then he banned.
Unlucky.
Logs, though.
Banned, dude.
The logs,
Framed.
The logs didn't used to exist. You'd used to have to go to like a third-party website and sign up for them to log your logs.
That's
It's
terrible.
the only way to look at them. They didn't exist back in the day.
Well, I
You
mean,
never
that
see
happens.
what people used to write.
That's when brands and services and apps evolve.
Oh, Twitch has absolutely cannibalized every feature that ever came to light as a third party, and then they did absolutely nothing with it every single time. It's incredible.
Jesus, roasted.
And it's always a worse version of what already existed. It's like if you're gonna eat something, at least spit out the same thing. Jesus Christ, man, brutal.
Wait, how do you spit out? You can't spit out the same thing. Doesn't work
Just
like
chew
that.
it up a little bit, spit it back out, bro.
It would
Why
have
has it
to
always
be a
got to be worse?
It
Why
would
the
have to be a real
enzymes got to
it would
get
have
at
to be
it?
a hard solid then, and then it'll just be a little wet. If you're chewing something up, it ain't coming out the same.
Well, moisture never hurt nobody.
Speaking of moisture,
Yeah.
this weekend, after years of hearing about how good this delicacy was,
Oh yeah.
you tried a
Mm.
pork roll sandwich.
Oh my love.
Oh, is this the actual sandwich we
That's
got
the
here?
one, bro. That's you rocking the old school Markstrom
Oh, yeah,
shirt.
peep that in the
That's
back.
Nice.
For those
Nice old school logo.
for those
I made that
listening-
myself.
Oh my gosh! For
It
those,
looks like I made it myself.
No, it doesn't. You give yourself too many
Yeah,
props.
it does.
For those watching
It's
or
rough.
listening, it is a picture of a nice. It
Mm.
looks like a nice fluffy. What type of roll is this?
That's a croissant.
Oh Jesus!
You can see
You
the
already
layers.
know, son.
Look at the flakes and the layers.
It is
Oh,
a
the flaky
flaky,
layers.
fluffy croissant
Croissant.
with egg and cheese. The
Mm.
cheese is dripping down the 2 layers of pork roll.
Yeah, buddy.
For those who are unfamiliar with what pork roll is, you're probably gonna have to look it up because I don't exactly know how to describe it. It's definitely from a pig. It's a breakfast meat, and Markstrom has never tried it until last week. What was your what do you think after?
If I had to liken it to something, I would
Yeah.
say it's like you know, like you get the Christmas ham kind of deal.
Christmas, is
Like
it just ham?
like yeah, so but like you have it around the holidays. It's
Okay.
like when you substitute the turkey or
Sure,
goose
sure.
or whatever you do.
Yeah.
You get the ham. It's like a honey baked ham, right? And you do little slices. That's about the thickness of each of these pieces is like what you would get for a slice of that. And it's about the same color. The difference is that this meat is a little bit fattier. It's a little greasier.
Mhm.
And then they got a little crisp on it because like it went directly on the griddle. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Oh,
Do you
right on the
remember when
cooktop.
you ordered it? I started asking our waitress
Oh,
questions.
you harassed the shit
I didn't
out of that
harass
woman.
her, dude.
But you wanted her to break down exactly what was going on.
I
What's
wanted to
going on
make
with this
sure
thing?
your first experience was going to be a correct one.
I know. I appreciate it
So the
because
thing
I'll tell you what, man.
It was good.
Fire.
Good. The thing
So
about this
good,
pork
bro.
roll is if those slices were a bit too thick, you might not have
Mhm.
enjoyed it. I'm not a thick
Right.
slice guy. So those are really good. And then the thing about it, for at least my preference is with pork roll, you'd need a slight crisp on the top and
Mhm.
bottom.
Yeah.
Or else it's like, it's still fine, but you need a
Oh,
slight
Gotta get
crisp.
the
I like
whole
crispy
thing,
bacon.
too.
What,
Gotta get the whole slice.
you gotta get the
Because
whole.
if you don't press it a little bit, it gets that like bubble.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
get
Do you know
uniform-
the
Oh,
technique
yeah.
for that? You know the technique?
You're damn right I
What's
do.
the technique?
You got to put little slices in it, like a little
Yeah.
triangle, and then it stays flat and it doesn't get the little bubble,
Is that
bro.
universal for other
Shout
meats?
out Larry Dixon on YouTube. My man. That's a good guy. Him and Lenore killing it over there.
Oh.
He makes the best bologna sandwich I've ever seen in my life, and that's
He
his
also
secret.
fries an egg like a French
Oh
chef.
yeah, he fries an egg until it's you need a chisel to get it off the grill. But that's not one of his better strategies. But the bologna, he does the little star so it doesn't bubble. Yeah,
Yep.
man, I learned it.
And then when you do
It's the key.
that, when you do, I think it's 3 slices is what I do.
Yep.
And then back in the day when I was at my mom's and she'd fry up a bunch and have them in Ziploc bag in the fridge for a couple days after, It makes it
Yeah,
real easy to just bloop, pluck one off, and just
Like
have
petals of a flower, bro.
Dude, so good. I used to eat pork roll cold, bro. Like out of the fridge,
Yeah, I
already cooked.
respect
Not
it,
it's
man.
cooked, but
Yeah.
cold, left over. So good, dude. And now also, just a shout out to you. A while ago, you changed my life with eating cold pizza. I was like, I would never do that. And then you were like, it's a new experience. You had it hot.
Hey, you get to have it twice.
You had it hot.
2 different things.
Now you have it cold. I'm like,
It's
all right,
also
I'll try
ridiculously hard to heat up pizza anyway and not have it be ruined.
It gets
You gotta do
rubbery.
the tricks.
I got the
It
secret.
does.
You gotta do the
You
tricks.
gotta have
You either gotta
tricks.
bake it, and who the hell's waiting 20
Air
minutes?
fryer
to
changed the
bake it?
game, though. Let's be honest.
Air fryer is
the
good,
key.
and then you can also, you know what? You probably don't want to do that with pizza.
I can't wait to hear it. Explain to the
I was
people.
gonna say wrap it. I usually with bread. I usually wrab it in a paper towel or like moisten the top towel.
Yeah.
and wrap it. I was gonna say do that with pizza. You might be able to.
I think that'd probably be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine. And then it would get
Be fine,
absorbed
bro.
by the grease on top of the cheese,
Mhm.
and then you'd lose that paper towel for good.
Yeah.
A friend of mine
Yeah.
used to turn his toaster on the side and then put it in the toaster.
That's not a bad idea.
Not a
Might burn
bad
your house
idea.
down. It's not a bad idea.
When you say a friend of yours,
It was not me, but
Okay.
this is an actual. I would first of all, that's
Mhm.
genius. I would claim
you
that.
would cop that if you could. Yeah. All right.
Oh gosh. All right. So
Good to
pork
know.
roll.
Yeah.
Success.
Very big success, my friend. That was
good.
banging.
Good. I hope you get to have it even more where you're at. I don't know if you could order
No
it or
chance.
something.
No chance. I'll come your way more often, though.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring you a
Ship
roll.
it down to you. Yeah, we can ship
Ooh.
I'll
it
bring
down.
you a roll. Oh, but I gotta
Come
I think I'm
through.
flying, dude.
There's no customs. What are you taking this dirty ass pig through through security? What's
I ain't
You don't think
bringing
you
a
can keep it cool?
I ain't bringing a freaking pork roll log through TSA.
how long?
They already put the X on my boarding pass and take me to the cavity search, dude. Look at me. I'm not bringing a freaking
I
pork
hear
roll
you. You're getting
log.
stereotyped over there for sure.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Because he's so handsome.
That's true.
Appreciate you. Anyway. Oh, man. All right. So the pork roll is good. I'm glad you had a wonderful time. We got a few more things on our docket today.
What you got?
And I think Abe actually has some tie to this topic, this next topic. So I'm
Yeah.
going to let him throw this in. And then
I would argue most people probably do at this point. You know, it has to do with cancer. And, you know, I think almost everyone out there has somebody in their lives that's been impacted by cancer at this point. I've lost family members. I have family members battling it currently. I have family members who have beat it. So it's a pretty nasty disease. We all know that. But there is some potential good news on the horizon. There is a new breakthrough cancer treatment that they have been talking about recently. I think it's in clinical trials on humans and animals. But essentially, they've derived that cancer cells have a unique pCNA that they used to think was kind of not something they should focus on. But
Mhm.
the new research has shown that if they target the uniquely altered pCNA in cancer cells, it's unlike any other, basically any other cell, and therefore they can isolate it. And it was described. Now, once again, I'm not a scientist, so this is
Mhm.
take this with a grain of salt. But it was described as if you're blocking off a major, railway or something like that, where you're not able to get the proper supplies in, so it kind of blocks the cancer cells from receiving what they need to reproduce.
Mhm.
To suppress them. It can even kill them too. And it was majorly used, I believe, in not pancreatic,
lung, prostate, breast.
prostate, breast. Yeah, a lot of the very common ones.
Yeah.
From what I saw.
So what I think of a lot of things, but the first thing I'll say is, Markstrom, correct me if I'm wrong. You might know more about this. So chemotherapy, it's designed to like kill the cancer, but you gotta hope that it kills the cancer before it like kills you, right? It's pretty much attacking like every living thing in you.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly poison to the body. Like
Yeah.
people without cancer definitely would receive serious symptoms as a result of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
People with
it's way
cancer.
less targeted. And I think like that's the big
Yeah.
deal for treatment is we're looking for targeted forms of treatment, right?
Yeah,
And
so that's what-
Abe did a great job of explaining that. I mean, it's a specific clamp for essentially preventing the replication of cancer cells. I mean, that's the easiest you can describe it. And yeah, it's very, very exciting because that will be specifically targeted, right? And will end up providing a lot less negative downside to treatment, right, than we currently have, which is obviously a tough battle as is with just the chemo.
So, would you, when it comes to when you said they're doing trial on pigs and humans, would when you're in this situation, do you think you're like, sign me up, dude?
Yeah, I think it depends, man. I mean, obviously every case is completely different, right? I think if you're in like a stage 4 type back against the wall, you're going to be more likely to say yes, right? Those are the people that end up doing these unproven clinical trials. I mean, at some point, somebody has to, right? Some human is going to be the first, right? And it's usually the more trying cases that end up saying yes to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's human nature. Obviously, if you've catch some early, there are better, more um, there are better treatment methods with less potential downside, I should say. So
Well, I am going to keep my fingers crossed that this is a big breakthrough. But then another thought of mine is I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on right now. You ready?
what you got?
Do you think that the machine wants something like this, like to be real? Or do you think that cancer makes so much money that they wouldn't?
At the same time, so do like healthy human workers. I think that's honestly like one of
That's a
the
good
things that
point.
we're struggling with the most right now, right? So people living longer lives need more income, need to work more. I think that feeds the machine a lot better, honestly,
That's a great point.
and benefits a lot more people than just the drug manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, all
We
right.
are in the midst of a little bit of a global population crisis right now. I don't know
I
if
was
you've
Right.
gonna
seen any
say
of
that, but I
news,
didn't want to
but
say it.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
not a
don't
good
think
time to be losing healthy people.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but a lot of people think there's too many people. I think there's not enough. Um, I like babies, and I want people to live long, healthy
Mm.
lives. So let's keep our fingers crossed that this is going to be a great thing.
It's
And
interesting, man. I think this is just like this is the natural life cycle, right? Of humanity is like we end up creating a breakthrough on something like before, like a prime example is we got antibiotics,
yep.
right? With the creation of antibiotics, we end up living a lot longer, as it
Mm-hmm.
turns out, right?
Penicillin.
There's a way, way, way higher longevity specifically because of penicillin. And then we we get to a point where, oh, well, now we got something new to worry about
Yep.
at this age because now the human body starts replicating cells at a rate that is unexpected and not healthy for us and causes a lot of issues, right? So we have cancer. Then we figure out, okay, how do we beat this? And then we'll have more longevity. And then as a result, I'm sure we got something else down the line. Different things that we got to, continue to break through. But there's no doubt that, I mean, average human lifespan and throughout the history of medicine has skyrocketed, which is very cool to see. I mean, we're living like I think it's at least like 4 times longer than the original humans, or like what we would consider Homo sapiens at this point. So pretty cool stuff, and it's definitely exciting as someone who's like studied a lot in like the history of medicine. It's absolutely fascinating. Highly recommend for anyone who wants to go down that rabbit hole. It's very cool. So
Well, we kind of touched on that last episode with a quick, like I mentioned, we had horse and buggy, and then
mhm.
we were approaching a problem about a bunch of horse crap in the streets, but then the automobile was invented. Now, there's a the cars have emissions, and there's client or climate problems or whatever the arguments are. I don't know either the side, but it seems that we have a climate problem, and now we're trying to solve that.
Mhm.
So I saw this in our little thingy over here. And Abe, would you mind pulling up what is a potential solution to the next problem that we're
Yeah.
dealing with right now?
So what we got here, if you're looking at the image there,
I'd just like to say right off the bat before you get into this, that looks like a screenshot out of Rust.
Oh, that's not
That's
Rust.
exactly. Nah, it's not Rust. I think that's real, man.
It actually does.
Mm-hmm.
it really does.
It's
Shout
like
out to
half
Rust.
upgraded.
One of the best survival shooters that I've actually gone on to, do well and continue to evolve in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah.
One of the only ones.
And
So
I'm the best pilot there is ever on that game. Just saying.
don't check my social clips.
So this picture is a cargo ship with 2 gigantic metal wind sails on them. So it looks like they're not just sails. They're also like, it looks like they're movable and there's some electricity going through them and there's probably some engines going through them. But these things are absolutely gigantic. Abe, do you mind showing the 2 workers next to the sail on the ground lower in that article?
A little bit of scale in there.
Markstrom, these things are absolutely freaking gigantic. We should get your logo on this sail, actually. There's plenty of room.
You think so?
Yeah, right under
the birds are
right
doing
under
good on there?
cargo. Yeah, check that out. There's plenty of room, dude. Actually, you probably have the prime spot right in the middle.
Yeah.
Look at those 2 guys down at the bottom. For those who are listening, it's just imagine just a gigantic sail that's made out of metal, and at the bottom of this picture you see 2 speckles and they're humans.
Bro, I didn't even see them, I'll be honest.
So these things are on cargo ships.
What do you think, that's 10 times the height of a human?
10? That's
At least.
it? No, it's tipped over. So it looks like
angled.
And it's angled. So our depth.
And these are retracted. I believe those expand out. And that's part of it to help catch the wind.
Cool. Crazy. So they're gigantic. So these are obviously in hopes to bring down our carbon emissions for these ships.
Yep.
However, something that I think about is how have Americans gotten so entitled and used to living this luxurious life of prime shipping and expedited shipping, because these are going to slow things down if it goes just to these. Now, if you got a tremendous wind, a favorable wind, and you're just cooking the whole way, that's great. But it doesn't always work like that.
Right.
So if they're just relying on these, our shipping times are going to go way down or way up, actually. Sorry about that.
I think they're using like a hybrid approach currently, where it's a little bit of this and a little bit of the traditional engine power. But yeah.
But in this article, they say, obviously, the goal is to go to zero emissions. Yep. So that means... I
think you got to take the steps. But yeah, if we're looking at this on like the grand scale of things, the shipping industry is only responsible for 2.1% of global emissions. So but I think the problem is like at such a point where we need to make innovations everywhere, right? It's like every industry needs to have those little chunked out innovations, and obviously 30% we continue to iterate upon that meaningfully, and it increases, right? But
yeah,
as far as the first step is concerned, it's pretty cool. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm really not versed in any of the science on what we have to do or when we have to do or why we have to do. However, I did like one thing that was said by Elon Musk. He was like, the materials that we use for fuel on this planet are finite. They're going to be gone. Whatever you believe about ozone or whatever,
right?
What we're using, fossil fuels, will be used up. So I thought that was very interesting. And that's like kind of a thing that...
the part that a lot of people don't consider. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. It's like everyone... I hear the arguments on both sides. Like climate, ozone, whatever. But I think everyone can really understand that like the stuff we use is going to be gone eventually.
Resources.
Yeah. So that
like keep this planet alive. And we got to have an alternate, man. There's no doubt about it. We got to slow that shit down until we can get to other planets. Otherwise, we're screwed.
Other planets.
I think that's the Elon goal, right? Populate Mars.
Yeah, we need to go frack Mars immediately.
Fracking, let's go, dude. Fracking on Mars.
Oh yeah, dude. We fracked the shit out of
hilarious.
Mars. Dude.
Oh my gosh. All right, we got the first team going up, and they're gonna set up an oil pump as soon as they get there, guys. Just doing the same thing.
Man, goals are goals, bro.
That's
Mars pipeline.
That's so good.
Bob's gonna be out there just inspecting those pipes, dude.
Holy crap.
That's great.
I think
hilarious.
What's cool about this, though, is that you're seeing kind of moves up and down the supply chain on the emission front, and because Elon Musk is a great example. Tesla's producing electric cars. That's great, but you got to ship those cars.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And we're shipping them from gigafactories all over the world, and
production and shipping,
and the
exactly
their own
it's
emissions.
cool. It's moving up and down the supply chain. That's a good thing, I think, overall.
And and the batteries are not recyclable, and you have to keep reusing them. I don't think the solution is out there yet. I think that we'll find
gotta
it.
go through the steps. Gotta innovate.
That's really why I don't mind seeing all this stuff, because like you're not gonna find it unless you try all this different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I like it.
Human progress, bro.
Yeah. And then I wish I knew more about like I don't know about nuclear energy. I don't know about fusion or fission. I hear a guy talk about one of those all the time. I don't pay attention enough, but he's like, that's probably the solution, but I really don't know about it. So I should probably look into that stuff, and maybe that would be an interesting
I think a lot of people definitely argue for more nuclear. I think that it has obviously a super negative connotation because of like the fear of a Chernobyl 2.0 type situation. And then obviously it leads, I think a lot of countries don't want to do it because of like the vulnerabilities infrastructure wise for those places to be targeted by attacks. Right? Because the ramifications are massive.
Crazy.
So yeah, it becomes like an infrastructure weak point of sorts, and it's a whole thing, but very, very, very interesting. Nonetheless,
you'd need like 20 iron domes around a nuclear plant or whatever, a power plant.
Something.
Yeah, but then you can't even do anything with like space missiles or whatever. Like you never freaking know. We don't even know about what's out there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I heard about this thing called
Star Wars.
No, Star Wars is fire. Rods from God, maybe. It's a concept. I don't know if it's real. It might be. I believe they drop a tungsten, maybe it's not tungsten, a rod from space, and it picks up it's so much more dense than any metal, or I might be getting the name wrong. So just imagine a metal that's way more dense than any other metal, and they drop it from space, and it's just picking up speed, and it could be way more powerful than an atomic bomb. And it's just
interesting.
It's just a piece.
Isn't
of
that
metal.
essentially what a railgun does, but from the ground? Doesn't a railgun just essentially launch something?
Sounds that way.
Aren't railguns just machine guns?
No, railgun I think uses, once again, not a scientist for everyone listening. I believe
Isn't it messed up that you two can say not a scientist, but I was actually a scientist before I streamed, and I will be held accountable?
I have a marketing degree, so don't trust me. I think it uses like magnetic energy to launch really heavy, dense stuff.
Abe, look up, and then we'll jump to the next one. I'll look up rods from God, if that's even a thing.
Rods from God.
From God. And then
I gotta be careful here. I hope my safe search is
safe search on for sure for this one.
Oh, it's a safe search. It's a safe search. Yeah. So what do we got here? Yeah, dude, it's a concept. I don't think it's real, but you never know.
I mean, people still talk about Star Wars like it's a
true.
Maybe it's a concept. Maybe it actually exists. Do we have satellite infrastructure up there that can shoot down ICBMs? We don't know.
This sounds like it.
Yeah. So it is.
It is tungsten.
Tungsten rod that they drop, and it could hit with the force of an atomic bomb. That's insane.
Pretty interesting. Speaking of atomic bomb, did everyone see Oppenheimer yet?
Not yet, dude.
You gotta get in there, bro.
I'll get there.
Hey, did you see it?
I did. I don't like the fact that the future scenes were in black and white. That confused the hell out of me. But other than that, very good movie. Acting's phenomenal. Like Cillian Murphy's something else.
Yeah, he really is, man. He didn't get enough love for Peaky Blinders, I don't think. I mean, it's just
he got love from me, dude.
For sure. I think from people who watched it, but I don't think it got. I don't know. It didn't get the same acclaim. I think it's just as good as like a Game of Thrones, like for like a international type.
I love that show.
Great,
but
great show.
I don't think the writing was as good towards the end, and neither was Game of Thrones. But I mean, the acting was just phenomenal.
Last season of Peaky Blinders was kind of trash to me. But everything before that, I love that. I love the mobster. I love the hero's journey. Even though he's a bad guy, he's a good guy. It's like I love that stuff. I eat that up all day.
It has those elements of Breaking Bad where he's like an awful human being. But
you
still like him,
Yeah,
but you like him.
That's good acting.
Tommy Shelby
or Tony Soprano, man. Another perfect example.
Fucking fighting. No fight. You remember that scene?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
In the
dude.
kitchen.
So good.
That whole kitchen scene was so good.
Can we have a watch party of Peaky Blinders?
I would love that, man. If it's on Prime,
show made me
we could
wanna-
potentially do something like that.
We should.
That show made me want to smoke cigarettes so bad.
Dude, The Godfather made me
mean,
want to smoke cigarettes. That's so
I've
interesting.
never had that feeling, but I do relate because watching Mad Men makes me want a whiskey worse than
Oh my
anything in the
gosh.
world, bro. It's crazy.
All right. Before
Got
we
that
get
power.
super off topic, even though it's a media talk, I wonder if any of those three things, any of those three movies or shows used Unreal Engine for any of their set design. So that's our next topic. Unreal Engine is crushing the freaking game right now. And it looks like the newest movie that they were a part of is the Barbie movie. So I think Abe's got a thing that
I didn't do the Barbenheimer. I didn't see it. Yeah.
I
wouldn't have
didn't
either.
see them both in the same day. I did see Barbie. Very
Okay.
good. And the set design's cool as hell. I mean, they nailed that. That was really
Pop
cool.
up that main picture for us, that Barbie picture. So
sure.
for those of you guys who don't know what Unreal Engine is, what are you doing? And then second of all, it is
How could you?
a quote unquote gaming engine, right? It was created to develop games on. And it does a wonderful job doing that. All right. So, however, as it got better and more usable and more user friendly and just all around a better product, people have started using it for set design. So if you're looking, for those who are watching, we're looking at a screenshot of who is it? Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
It's Margot
Robbie
This is the
in a
intro to the
swimsuit.
movie, too.
On it looks like a beach at sunset. In the background there's clouds, you see rocks. It's just imagine her in a swimsuit, sunset, beach. However, this is actually a virtual set design, and I'm guessing they used what they call a volumetric studio. So imagine a room, whether it's a circular room or a square room. This one's probably a circular room. Instead of paint on the walls, there's LED panels about 1 foot by 1 foot that all connect together, and you take a super juiced computer with insane power and you project the set you want onto that screen. So it used to be you put someone in front of a green screen, film them, and you chroma key out that green. Now you put someone in front of this virtual set and you actually just film it. No post work, some post work, but none of that chroma key. The set is already there. Not only that, if you really got your stuff together, you have motion trackers on your camera and motion trackers in the volumetric studio that connect to Unreal Engine. So that way, when you're moving your camera around, if I were to sweep my camera around Margot Robbie, the background would move with it in a manner where in real life it would also move. You'd see
Feels
a parallax.
Natural. Yeah.
So this, Markstrom, where would you say in this scene, where do you think the set becomes a virtual set?
I would say the only thing that's not virtual is what's in front of her foot. I think they do a lot of work with like the ground, right? Where they try to make like the ground in front just that little bit of, hey, here's a little bit of foreground. This is real. So they do change that out from time to time. I've seen that with I want to say it was probably The Mandalorian. I saw some of that there, but I would say literally everything else is a screen.
Think of these rocks.
No, I would say those are probably not there either.
No, I don't think so. It's pretty wild.
I don't know, because they are in focused. One of the tricks is make it out of focus and it can be virtual. Right. However, I mean, me and Markstrom have made scenes in Unreal Engine with like very similar rocks, and they look very, very realistic.
Yep.
So I would also say the ground, and that's one of the keys with this virtual production stuff. The more you can sell it, so people do the ground, they add dirt or sand on the ground. They have a log in the background if they're shooting in the forest. They shoot through leaves in front of the camera just to paint the whole forest scene. The more you can
any depth.
Yes, the more you can add the depth into the scene, you can really sell it. So something that's very interesting came to my mind when I saw this on our agenda was, I don't know if this is a real saying, but I heard it once.
Okay,
you try to catch 2 rabbits at once, you'll end up catching none of them. Something like that, right?
Sure. That's fair.
So I would like to say I really live by that, but I'm not super disciplined enough to where I do that. I love just doing
Hmm.
a bunch of stuff, like trying a bunch of things at the same time. But something that's interesting about Unreal Engine is that they're creating the best gaming developing engine and also taking filmmaking and production by storm at the same time because wildly it's one product that both industries are using.
It I'll say even more interesting than that is the fact that this isn't the first time they've done that, because this feels natural for them because Unreal Engine is produced by Epic Games, and Epic Games has always simultaneously created games while creating an engine that gets licensed out by everybody else to make their games. So here they are doing the exact same thing in the film industry.
Crazy, dude.
Pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
love it. I absolutely
Triple
love it.
dipping.
So
Have you guys
triple
seen
dip,
the
baby.
Matrix? Have you guys seen the Matrix demo? It was
Yes,
in
I did.
one of the
I have
articles
that.
too, but
I
Yes.
have that map on my computer.
unreal.
It bodies
Unreal.
my computer, dude.
I bet it does.
It bodies it. However, it is beautiful. It's absolutely
Unreal.
beautiful.
Cool.
And,
It quite
and
literally is unreal.
so not just that, dude. So for things like gaming, when what's it called? A procedural environment, right? You keep walking in this environment and it just generates and generates and
Mhm.
generates randomly. That also helps for, say, if you're standing in a forest and you're looking at your character and you see all this stuff behind them,
Mhm.
and it's able to just create all this vast forest, and
Right.
then it's also creating it in a low power type of way. It's called nanite in Unreal
And
Engine.
yes, sir.
The level of detail gets lower the further back you can see it because it's not necessary. So that enables your computer to not get super bodied. It just makes it very
Mhm.
easy to run. Well, that also helps when you're running it on one of those systems that we just saw with Margot Robbie. When you're hooking it to a computer, that it has to be super juiced already because imagine running a room-sized monitor.
Mhm.
Like so, everything they're making benefit for gaming's automatically benefits it for the
How
film.
many 4090s you think are in there to roll those panels? How many graphics cards?
The one, the one guy that I thought I don't quite think it's that. I'm not too informed on it yet. Obviously,
Mhm.
you'd love a setup with 4090s in it, but then it goes to a power supply,
Yeah.
and it's like this big. It looks like a server room.
Gotta juice them
basically.
up.
It's juice, dude. Absolutely juice. And then you need the whole team that can run it.
All right.
So we're looking at something that's like $500,000 just to get your foot in the game with like the setup.
Mhm.
And that's not even like Netflix type style. This is like a room. Then
Right.
you need the guys that get paid $100K a year to run it so you can use your time efficiently.
That being said, if there's any angel investors listening,
We're
me
always
and
looking.
Dominic would love to put a little something together.
We're always looking.
You get
Yeah,
those
buddy.
4090s, we start maybe mining a little Bitcoin on the side, you know?
It's the Bitcoin mining is going to be not GPU heavy very soon.
Yeah.
Check this out. So it's a bit messy right now, but if you can see in the background, for those that are listening, I have a camera slider in the background. And what that camera slider does, it hooks up to Unreal Engine. So sometimes if you guys are in the media and you're getting into virtual production, what you'd want to do is have a motion sensor on your camera that's hooked up to Unreal Engine. However, what this slider does, it actually connects my IP address to the computer and the slider. So instead of the camera, it's not hooked up to the camera, but it knows exactly where the camera is.
Right.
So as it goes back and forth, left and right, it also knows the slider is moving and the camera's on the slider, and it can move the environment back left and right.
That way you can track it and keep it on rails.
Correct. So when
Yeah.
you don't have $500,000 to get in the game with the volumetric studio, you can still do the green screen and have
Right.
it being moved and have your environment being moved. That's the best part, dude. When you do media production and you do green screen work and your environment's moving, it's not just a static shot that you're standing in front of and you're like, oh, a spaceship, and nothing's moving. When you can get the camera to move and the environment to interact with it, that is what sells it. So
Yeah. I'd like to welcome people to go back and watch The Wizard of Oz and see exactly what doesn't sell it.
yeah, but they
Because
but they were
It's
ahead, like,
amazing, though.
they
I know.
they were the first ones. Like,
But that's how you appreciate where we're at today.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, have you ever
Great.
seen what Charlie Chaplin used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
All those camera tricks are amazing.
forced perspective, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
so good. Exactly.
Also, the stuff they did with Elf was awesome. They did that a lot.
That's
Elf.
forced perspective as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, right.
When
he's in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it stands up so well.
It's
And
so
Tolkien.
good. Well, Markstrom doesn't like
all
Elf.
of the hobbits and stuff, and like that was all forced perspective with them at the table versus everybody.
That's so
amazing.
crazy, dude.
And different size dishes and stuff in front of them, like huge dishes to make them look tiny. It's so cool.
That the crazy thing is when you're doing forced perspective in a scene like that, but then somehow they interact with the same thing.
It's so good.
That's what blows my mind.
Magic,
dude.
bro.
Magic.
Oh, magic.
Oh my God. All right. So
Gandalf in that piece just going crazy.
What do you think about Unreal Engine? I mean, I kind of just went off the freaking handle with it. I love this software, dude. Changed.
Me, I'm deep on it, bro.
What happened?
I said,
Yeah,
it's good stuff. That's where it's at, bro.
It's good stuff.
Off Markstrom like 5 times there. I'm sorry.
All right. Can't win them all. Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's the future of gaming for me. Like I've said to stream 1,000 times, like I really think it's going to be the massive difference for basically ushering in a golden era of gaming. I think we've been in a really rough spot for a really long time because games of today's quality require so much fronted capital that the only people who can make something that lives up to our standards are AAA devs. And all AAA devs care about is the bottom line. And they do not create these games from a place of passion, but from a place of corporate greed. And the people that are in those studios, oftentimes, and I'm not saying that the people who develop these games don't care, because they definitely do. But now you introduce a board and shareholders and a publisher timeline, and those people aren't able to do what needs to be done to provide a quality product to the consumer, right? And so what I think the difference is going to be with UE5 is it's going to speed up production and provide a level of quality to smaller indie studios that will require infinitely less capital as a result of the tool set that is provided, that will provide us, the consumer, with 1,000 times better of a game. Something that we truly care about, a game made by gamers for gamers. And that I'm really excited about.
That sounded like an Unreal Engine campaign speech, dude. That was nice.
Listen, man, this is the day-to-day for me is just, if you think for 1 second that I'm not disenfranchised with the state of today's industry and always looking at the future, you'd be cooked. I have to keep an eye on these things because it truly matters. I have a certain responsibility to provide content on a game that does have a future that people will care about, not just now, but a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. Those are the projects that I'm interested in, and ones that are going to do everything that they can for the sake of the people that purchase it, who I'm beholden to because they're members of my community, right? So it's very important for me to stay on top of this stuff. So I do.
I agree with that. And I think for people let me just read a little chunk of this article because this is something to keep in mind. You could argue, it only says filmmaking. It says you could argue that filmmaking, and I'll also insert game development. You could argue that filmmaking and game development will still require talent. Well, yes, of course. That much will never change. You could also argue that we're in for a deluge of awful acting and storytelling and making it harder to find good stuff. So they're basically saying, yes, it's making it easier, it's making it better, it's democratizing everything, but you still need to provide a wonderful product, a wonderful service, and it's actually gonna be harder to find these things. Maybe it won't. Maybe they'll stick out more easy amongst a bunch of crap. But there will be an influx of just everyone making games, everyone making virtual production. However, to always stand out in any field, you have to stay at it. You have to provide a good product. You have to treat people with respect, and you'll stick out. So that's coming from.
I think
I'm
more
in the media
importantly,
production world.
the other side of the coin there is that I would argue the last 20 years of filmmaking has been terrible. There's been very few reasons to go to the movies in the last 20 years versus whatever was before, right? I mean, like these films used to be massive productions because so much effort went into it. And everything these days, the way the studios have treated green lighting projects is simply based on what is the bottom line? How much does it cost to make it? And what can we get out of it? And there's a lot of actors that speak very openly about this thing. And I've heard it time and time again, whether it's from Ben Affleck or Matt Damon, they will discuss the state of the industry. And it's frustrating because great movies are not getting made because there's risk. And everyone at the studios are 100% risk averse because they will lose their jobs if they don't bring in the bottom line. If something bombs, it's their head on the chopping block.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that isn't a bad thing, but it definitely results in less potential massive blockbuster magical creations getting made today than what used to get made. And I think that this is even more so enhanced by like today's shorter attention span, by today's influx of media from all angles all the time. Everyone's vying for each other's attention, and that just adds to the risk, right? So it's a difficult spot to be in. I'm not like trying to like demonize the film industry by any means. It's just this is something that every form of media has to deal with, and we see it in film as we do gaming alike. So
I was going to bring it back to Ashes of Creation. And so what you just said, so when people aren't in that position, when their head's not on the chopping block, when they can have the time to be creative and really sink their teeth
and resources,
into it, they can innovate, they can make something wonderful. And that's like your guy with Ashes of Creation.
Steven Shafir, my man.
Scorsese would say that there isn't a film industry anymore. Like he does not like the Marvels and stuff like that. He's like, that's not film. That's not cinema.
I tend to agree with him.
I
hate that. I don't want, Marvel fans don't come for me, but
I like some of them just because I like it. It's fun to watch. They're not groundbreaking. They're not like, I don't go home and say, man, I wonder what Iron Man really meant when he said that. Maybe I should think about myself now. No, when you watch those real films, sometimes they hit something and you're like, maybe I need to reevaluate something. Maybe they hit a nerve. They tap into nostalgia. That's beautiful.
Is the difference between what's made right now and art.
That's
the difference. That is correct. That film's art.
Mark, what did you say when we talked about AI? I think the exact thing you said was you were tired of uninspired media, and I think that is true here.
Yeah, same exact.
Well, that's because
for sure.
Like you said, they're risk adverse, or is that the right word? Adverse?
Yeah.
They're risk adverse. So they have this formula. Okay, insert actor A, B, C. They're all A actors. We could get 2 B actors in here. That's great. The plot is a hero's journey. That's great. It's a love story. It's wonderful. We'll do 50% CGI, 50% in studio. Boom. All right, and our profit margin will be this. Wonderful.
All based on the numbers.
That's really what a lot of movie studios do.
Formulaic.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's frustrating, man. And formula does not lead to art, in my opinion. So
but I'm okay with it because then the pendulum swings back. It always swings back. It always does.
Definitely agree. And I think that's what I mean with this golden era. I think UE is going to be massive, and I'm excited as a lifelong gamer and as someone whose day-to-day income depends on it.
Maybe if our listeners voice interest, we could do like a live stream where we scan you and get you. Oh, all right. Well, there goes that. There goes that camera. Anyway, that was the last topic.
Quick, use Unreal 5 to regenerate it.
for the listeners out there, my camera just shut down.
As metahumans online in just 30 seconds. Stay with us.
Good thing that was the last topic on our chat board. But maybe we'll do a live stream one day and we'll scan you into Unreal Engine and see what trouble we can get you in that Matrix City.
I don't like the way you phrase that, but I'm tentatively down.
Oh man! All right, Markstrom, what do you got coming up? What do you got coming up for us?
Well, my friends, starting tomorrow, Thursday, August 24th, 2023, Anno Domini 0630 Eastern Time, we will be starting a subathon. And not just any subathon, but a variety subathon, which is our first time doing something like this, which I'm really excited about. We're not beholden to any game in particular, but you can definitely swing by and check out some Dark and Darker. We're going to be playing Armored Core, which is the new mech Dark Souls. It's going to be coming out on Friday. And then we also going to be checking out Lies of P, which is a dark Pinocchio inspired Dark Souls, Deceit 2, Payday 3, a lot of great game releases. I'm really excited about it. Maybe we can give Cyberpunk, the new DLC, a try.
Oh,
I'm very excited. But yeah, if I had to say a main game, it's definitely still Dark and Darker. In between all that, all the single player storyline experiences, it's going to be dope. A lot of great sub goals on the docket.
oh,
We have an 8-week cap. So for every subscription or for every $5 donation, we'll be adding 4 minutes to the clock. So the stream ends when the timer ends. I'm going to give everyone 24 hours for free, and we'll see where we go from there. But something tells me I end up bald.
oh, Jesus! And if you're listening to this right now, go check out his URL at twitch.tv/Markstrom because he might be live.
I will be live at this very moment in time, 24/7. So not only do I play games on stream, but I also work out on stream, eat on stream, hang out with chat in the backyard, mow the lawn. You know, you never know what kind of content you're going to be getting. Some cooking streams in there, spend some time with the family. But at the nighttime when I'm sleeping, you'll see me sleeping on stream, and then you'll also see one of our friend broadcasters taking over and holding it down for the night and interacting with chat. So
Sheesh.
always an interactive cast. You know, we don't do the non-interactive subathons. I not a big fan of those, but yeah, we got a crew to hold it down. So I'm really excited. It should be a great time.
I'm excited as well. Abe, how about you, dude? Where can we find you?
Once again, you can find me moderating said subathon over at twitch.tv/Markstrom. Make sure if you have any primes, you drop them in the channel to help keep that timer going. And don't say anything stupid because I'll have to ban you.
There it is. How about you, Dominic?
Wonderful, wonderful. I will also be there, and we will be doing this podcast live every Wednesday on his subathon because he can't escape the stream moving for the next 8 weeks. So we're going to be doing it live on twitch.tv/Markstrom. And
every Wednesday at 05:30 Eastern.
Oh, we're going to be talking about a bunch of cool stuff. So make sure you stop in.
17:30 Eastern. Thank you.
There it is. All right, boys. Wonderful chat. And for all the listeners out there, thank you very much. And we hope you enjoyed it. And tune in next week. We'll have another wonderful conversation for you.
Deuces.
Peace.